class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy Podcast. Hosted by our headmaster, Jared Bachman-Stubbs, you can find all of us here at the Nerd Academy Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com. Our shows, the Nerd Academy Podcast, Knights of the Nerd Republic, and Campus Life are released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, check out our Patreon, where every donation helps to keep the lights on.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy Podcast. I am your host and headmaster, Jared Bachman-Stubbs. And on the show this week, we have Black Leader Travis Grossman.
Oh,
with actual cherry
that
Dr.
was
Pepper.
Really good.
All of us fresh from camping. We're all done being men and woman from the woods. And for the first time in, I think it was a decade.
2 months,
When did quarantine start?
30 years ago.
It was
So it was
March
29.
20th.
It was 29 years ago.
So 29 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
March 20th.
Yeah. We have Joel, the Sentinel Basin back on the show.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to be back for once after secluding myself to a world of solitude for a hot minute there.
Yeah, Joel went full, Last Jedi Luke. And, I showed up at his house with, a microphone held out to him, all cinematically. And he, dropped his hoodie off his head holding a teacup and just kind of looked at me begrudgingly. And then eventually agreed to come back and be on the show again.
Yeah,
but you've been very busy, and all the work you've been putting in while balancing that with the MCAT stuff is greatly appreciated.
I keep apologizing, but the YouTube channel has been neglected so badly.
Look, priorities, man.
Right.
YouTube acts as a good backlog for older episodes. Because from what I understand, eventually Spotify will kind of cycle out shows if they get old enough. At least in my experience, it might have just been the shows I listen to that kind of get rid of their backlog. But if Spotify and other stuff does that automatically, all the way back to episode 1 still on YouTube.
Right.
That's the way I see it.
I'm working on it. I'm working on getting those updated.
I'm working on it.
But yeah, very excited to get into some news this week after our little vacay in the woods. And our first story, most of this broke while we were all in seclusion. Mm-hmm. We have updates on the Avengers game coming out in September.
Which I definitely didn't forget about at all. Not a bit. I didn't completely forget this game was happening.
How did you forget about Captain Hockey Pads?
Because of Captain Hockey Pads.
Yeah. Joel, are you familiar with what Captain America's costume looked like for this game?
Yes, I actually am aware.
Now you remember what we were talking about?
Yes, we had this conversation before.
I still, in certain shots it looks okay, and in others it is just abysmal.
I don't mind Tony's look. I don't mind Thor's look,
I think Thor's is a little boxy, personally.
I know people kind of threw a temper tantrum over Natasha, but that was more just in the way of me one big titty in video game kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that that's its own microcosm of a conversation. I don't have that many gripes with the visual look of this game, except for Steve's costume. It looks absurd. And it is so ugly, and I'm so glad you can customize it for however long he's a playable character.
Well, you probably can't if it's in the opening of the game. But when he comes back.
Inevitably.
And, we're not dumb.
We've seen movies and played video games before. We know Cap isn't dead.
We've read comics.
Yeah. But we were very... But yeah, we got some trailers for this game, both gameplay and story. That was really hard to stay on target. We don't pretend anything is happening. Joel was adjusting the microphone from across the table and did a shush gesture at me while he did it.
It didn't work.
And I just
made a bunch of noise.
It worked. I mean, comparatively, it was pretty quiet.
And I just went cross-eyed staring at him do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so want to talk story trailer or gameplay trailer first?
I think we'll talk story trailer first.
Okay.
Because that's the That's the thing that surprised me the most.
Yeah.
Because, like we were talking right before we started, this game is way more Kamala Khan focused than I think either of us originally thought. And that's not a bad thing.
Just surprising.
Yeah, because, like, we all know these characters a lot. But I think Kamala Khan gives us, as someone who's just found her powers, right? And as a fangirl of the Avengers, gives us, like, a nice window, kind of like how the companion operates in Doctor Who.
I was going to say that, and, like, I'm going to kind of go back to the same allusion I made earlier. I like this archetype of, kind of like with Rey and Luke in The Last Jedi, where you have that, you know, new hotness bringing currently old and busted greatness out of retirement to kick ass when they are needed more than ever. So I like the idea, and it's not too dissimilar, like, you know, to Rey, Luke is this legend like he is to the rest of the galaxy, same with Kamala to the rest of the Avengers. So I like this idea that Kamala Khan is the one who's like, hey, y'all need to get back on your A game, no pun intended.
Pun absolutely intended.
A little bit. Because shit's going left. And MODOK.
They didn't go with Ultron? They didn't go with Thanos?
Or Loki?
There is a god.
Yeah. But, like, every single, like, console Marvel game over the last, like, 3 or so years has been Thanos.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Ultimate Alliance 3, Thanos was the main villain. Marvel vs. Capcom 4, it was still Thanos.
Was it or was it Ultron? I think it was Ultron, but he was collecting the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, and it was still, like, and Thanos was still, like, part of the fuckery, because, yeah.
Because you gotta have the Infinity Stones, and that means you gotta have Thanos.
Yeah, and so like, understandably, you know, Thanos has become everybody's favorite Marvel villain for obvious reasons, because he's so amazingly written in the movie.
And an amazing actor.
Oh, and Josh Brolin behind it as well. So I'm very happy that they showed a little bit of restraint and went with MODOK. There's a part of me, because I always get skeptical about this thing when, like, I think that studios and the comic book publishers are trying to prime audiences, that there's a little part of me that's like, does this mean MODOK's gonna be in the MCU soon?
See, I'm going.
That's like getting giddy. That, like, you're gonna give me MODOK in the MCU, right?
See, I'm going the other way with it right now in my head, where because there was that trailer for an Ant-Man DLC back when the game first got announced. Mm-hmm. It was Hank that they showed, right? Was it Hank or Scott?
I don't remember. I don't remember the Ant-Man. I remember that there was an Ant-Man DLC talked about.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Hank or Scott. If it was Hank, I could, in theory, see this going the route of it's MODOK until suddenly it's Ultron. And I would be very upset by that.
Kind of like how Spider-Man did. It was Mr. Negative until it was Dr. Octopus.
Or Batman Arkham Origins, it was Black Mask until it was actually Joker. Like,
I like how there's two ways to do that, and one where it's really good.
Yeah.
And one where it's not really good.
I don't know. Does it kind of seem like when they do that, they're doing it because they know our immediate reaction to going straight to, like, say, what was it, Black Mask and Joker, or whatever it was?
Yeah.
So for, like,
if they went straight to Joker, then everybody's like, oh, it's just the same old, same old. But if they did that, then...
But there's a disappointment in it.
Well, and with Arkham, there's also the fact that, like, because you already have, like, the pre-established timeline of the Arkham games, that, like, it was already kind of weird. It was just like, oh, cool, a narrative that isn't Joker.
Yeah. And it was meant
in these games.
With Arkham, there were a lot of facets into that where a lot of people ended up being disappointed, and it was still a good game because they wrote that connection with Joker really well. But, ooh, that didn't sound good. And with Spider-Man, it works really well because, like, Doc Ock was built up throughout that first half of the game.
Oh yeah, you spend so much time with Otto,
and it's so forecasted from the beginning, where they're like, we know what we said, but this is happening. Like, you can
see, that was the thing that really excited me about it, was because, like, when it first starts up, like, oh, you're working with Otto Octavius. Every time that, like, you went to hang out with Otto and Spider-Man, I was just like, oh, like, this is clearly sequel bait.
See, I
had zero expectations of Otto becoming Doc Ock in that game. And that's what threw me completely. And if Hank Pym is going to be DLC, I would be surprised.
I'm going to fact check myself for a minute to make sure I have the right.
Because I would just be surprised if they tried to, because Ultron is already one of those characters that it takes a lot of work to make Ultron work in a narrative and like really make him a huge threat, to build up all the Ultron bots and build up the creation of Ultron and all that stuff. But I know you're like rewatching that trailer. Did they like explicitly show Ultron in the Hank Pym thing that you were talking about, or was it just like they just showed Ant-Man?
It's Lang. Okay, it's Lang.
Oh, it's Scott Lang.
It's Scott, because I remember they referred to him by his last name. I couldn't remember if they said Lang or Pym. It's Lang.
Okay. And that still didn't stop the MCU for having Tony Stark create Ultron.
No, because they were too lazy to have Hank do it. But like,
Was it originally Hank?
Yeah, in the comics it's Hank.
In the comics it's Ant-Man who creates.
I feel like that kind of makes less sense in the context of the movie.
And that's why they did it that way.
Right, because especially knowing the arrogance and almost ignorance of Tony Stark.
Yeah, they wanted for it to be
character development.
Character development, and just this whole idea of Steve and Tony's conflicting ideologies to be another nail in the coffin leading to Civil War. I'm very excited. The story looks really fun. You know, I love the whole we're going back, the old heads need to come out of retirement type story. Again, I'm so shocked it's MODOK, and I'm so happy with that choice, and I'm happy to. Do you think they're? Do you want to think? Do you think they're gonna go full, like full stop, and have like little funky looking man with a scrunched up face in a hovering chair?
I really hope so. Maybe like the hovering chair comes out at the end of the game as like the final.
Well, you can do a lot whenever it's a game.
Exactly, that's my point. Is that like, I would love for it to be full on like comic realistic.
Completely off topic, but you know what that reminds me of? The whole part of Flash, whenever you had I don't even know his name, from the TV series Flash.
Yeah, the CW one.
Yeah, whenever you had the professor guy that, upgraded his brain, had the big chair. You know what I'm talking about, right? I can't remember his name.
My brain just went Brainiac, the Thinker.
Yeah. It's like all I think of whenever someone says a floating chair is that.
You want a guy with the big brain, and I was like, oh yes, Brainiac. Nope, that's not right.
That's not Flash, I don't think. no, because that's Supergirl.
Superman. Well, both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would be very excited.
Brainiac 5.
If they went like hard comic accurate MODOK, that would be
like, just again looking at the aesthetic, where like it's MCU like, and like there's a part of me that's like, how much purple and yellow should we be expecting from MODOK? You know, like, is it just gonna be like full purple and yellow with like the goofy headband, and like some of his like weird ass bowl cut is kind of in his face? Like, I'm curious as to visually what all we're gonna get from him. But we also got a gameplay trailer, and I wasn't super. But yeah, we do have a gameplay trailer, and Travis, how did you feel about the gameplay trailer? Because Joe didn't get a chance to look at the gameplay yet.
I have a feeling it has to do with the person behind the controller, but it looked really clunky.
Yeah, there is some clunkiness to it, and again, they also had that like, this is from a not quite finished version of the game, which always means I promise it isn't that bad. During game conferences. He also made the decision to show Thor gameplay. Yeah. Which I thought was an interesting choice. Like, I feel like out of everybody on this core Avengers team,
you'd want to show Tony.
Especially with all of the capabilities that are at your disposal.
Yeah, because like with Thor, as amazing as Thor is to watch as a character and as a fighter, You know, like he's kind of a one-trick pony. It's not really a matter of what he can do. It's more a matter of how he does it.
Well, okay, but frankly, come on. There's so much there to work with, but they haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, but in a video game capacity, there's only so much you can do.
X,
With,
Y,
like-
A, and B.
Yeah, with those constraints of, you know, there's only so many ways you can animate throwing a hammer, swinging a hammer, slamming a hammer, flying with a hammer, lightning bolt, crash, crash, crash.
Lightning, more lightning, another bolt of lightning. Let's
Yeah,
lightning through the veins. Lightning.
yeah. There's only so much you can do there. You know, I did really like the one ability that they kept showing off was the ground slam, where he'd like swing the hammer around and he'd fly with it, and then like the closer you got to ground, the more he was like ready to like straight down with Mjolnir. And that was really dope, and I like that a lot. But I'm really surprised they didn't show Tony gameplay.
Beyond like in the co-op trailer, there was like a smidge here and there, but
Yeah, and again, like they showed like some really cool stuff with like the red beams that he shoots out of his wrists.
I love those.
Whereas he did basically the exact move he does in Iron Man 2, where he just goes spinny, 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 and just beheads a bunch of the hammer drones. But
Man, I love Tony Stark.
we all do. We all have a
I love you 3,000.
we all have a big iron boner for Tony. But it looks cool, and I like that little bit of like Thor like steering the helicarrier with the lightning. But yeah, it does look kind of clunky, like you said.
again, from what I could tell, it definitely seemed like it was the person playing and not the gameplay itself. In the same way that like you could watch, because the thing that watching Thor made me think a lot of was God of War, the new one.
Which makes total sense
Right.
in a way.
I can't wait for the God of War sequel so that I can actually use Mjolnir. That's gonna be hot. Second of all,
But no one's gonna like freak out in a movie theater clapping for you though. Like it's no fun to pick up Mjolnir if there's not like a huge group of people just losing their shit.
but I'll be the huge group of people losing my shit.
You'll make up for it.
I'll be screaming. My neighbors will come over, just like, who died? What's going on? But the like throwing your weapon, calling it back, shenanigans, right? That can look really clunky in a game like God of War if you haven't been playing it enough. But once you get the swing of it, and you get the rhythm, and you know how
Swing of it.
the swing of it. But like when the right to like, I'm gonna call it back now. I'm gonna do it here so it hits this person. I'm gonna do this. Like I think it's the same thing with that kind of gameplay with Thor.
Yeah.
And I think that will translate to everyone else as well, where it's just like getting that rhythm down with that character is what's going to be important.
Yeah.
And then there's the co-op mode, which looks really cool.
See, we were all kind of taking turns. Like we all watched the story trailer. You and I watched the gameplay trailer. I got through most of the co-op trailer, so like that looks really interesting and fun.
Yeah,
from what I saw of it.
I like the customization that they showed there. I wonder,
There's so much potential. Like, there's so many things you can do if you have the right creative team.
and like because they can add characters in DLC like they are with Scott Lang, where it's like you can flesh out who you want to play as. You can like, if we got in a crew, Jared, you could play Tony, I could play as Cap
Goddamn right.
or Thor.
Hawkeye.
Makes you play as
and
whoever you
then you have that. It's like, okay, how many things can you do with that?
Yeah.
Arrow,
trick arrow,
kick. There's a kick and then an arrow. Yeah.
hit with the bow,
Yeah, there's a lot of things.
but still,
I was also thinking, like, do you think they'll have like an ability to ricochet Cap's shield?
they do.
They showed it in the first trailer.
Oh, good.
Where like you could see the person like aiming to like kick down a hallway.
Yeah, and that's just more evidence that he's not dead,
Yeah.
because
That much character design for somebody you're gonna kill off in the first 20 minutes.
unless you're like specifically putting in a different person as Captain America and they're just gonna fight the exact same way as Steve, like down to the muscle contractions.
It wasn't until like last year that I realized that Captain America wasn't Steve Rogers all the time. Like,
There have been a lot of people.
Right, and I had no idea about any of that. And now I'm, like, slightly internally disappointed. But, like, at the same... Like, because my heart for Steve Rogers.
No, yeah.
But
Everyone's got a favorite.
more
Yeah.
like Chris Evans, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I mean, yeah, there's so much cool stuff to work with, and like they said before, there will be DLC outfits and whatnot. Which again, thank God. Like they already confirmed a couple for Cap, like his Secret Empire costume's going to be in there. Yeah, there's a couple armors for Iron Man they've already announced. So very excited on the whole. But yeah, Avengers. I'm definitely going to pre-order this soon.
You get access to the beta if you pre-order it too.
Oh, really?
So that might be something I have to do as well.
A little bit more...
Incentive,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the word I couldn't think of.
Well, Joel, you provided us with a great segue.
Incentive?
Speaking of other Captain Americas,
Oh, yeah?
one Anthony Mackie, a.k.a. Sam Wilson, a.k.a. the Falcon,
Right.
opened up a little bit about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Did he?
Yes.
Did he? Did he
A
now?
little Falcon and
What's
Winter
that
Soldier
from?
talk.
Did he now? Is that Pirates of the Caribbean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can tell that your
Sorry.
accent is not correct, and I have no
it's
idea what it's
definitely
supposed to be.
It's the guy who plays the Minister of Magic in the Deathly Hallows of Harry Potter, but is also Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I can't do his accent.
I can't think of his
it's
name, but I know
such
who
a
you're
great
talking
accent.
about. Okay. This is a very... Okay, where's Spencer when you need him? That bastard's still on
That's
vacay.
exactly when you need him.
Yeah.
Because
Do
I
you
wouldn't
fear
have.
death, Jack Sparrow, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier should feel familiar to Marvel fans when it debuts on Disney Plus. Speaking to David Diggs via Variety, Anthony Mackie says that the series production before it was halted was like making a Marvel Studios film, but longer and on a smaller budget. We're shooting it exactly like a movie, he says. Everybody who had worked on TV before was like, I've never done a TV show before like this. The way in which we were shooting, it feels exactly like we were shooting a movie cut up into a show. So instead of a 2-hour movie, it's more like a 6 to 8 hour movie. He goes on to talk about everything getting shut down during COVID. We were in Europe and everything got crazy in Europe first, Mackie says, so they shut us down 2 weeks before the US shut down. It was really amazing just because I feel like we're the first Marvel show or movie that had budget constraints. And that was always my experience. It's Marvel. We could shoot forever. And they're like, nah. So it was a very different experience from the rest of the movies. But at the same time, it was a lot of fun. Those movies are like... Those movies are like summer camp, he continues. And this show was no different. It was the same group of people coming together to make it work. And so the stunt stuff, everything was just on another level. Every show, every movie, they just push it. They push the envelope so much. So hopefully, knock on wood, we'll be going back soon. Was what he had to say on it. And with all the new Disney Plus shows coming, you know, I know that everybody, myself included, kind of looked at The Mandalorian and
Hamilton.
went, okay, but the shows.
I know. I'm sorry. Distracted.
I know. I'm working on my drink menu.
I'm very excited.
I'm bartending our Hamilton watch party this weekend, and I'm very excited for it.
Are you Aaron?
By the way, I don't know
sir?
if I told you, we've got the green light, so
Okay,
Hell
good.
yeah.
definitely good to go.
And when I say that I'm working hard on the menu, I mean I'm working hard on the menu.
Oh my god. All right, moving. We need to focus. We are so excited. We will share
Co-stream and
every
everything.
moment with you as we are doing
Next
it.
to Campus Life.
Follow us on Twitter and then on Campus Life.
Well, no, that'll be next week for Campus
Yeah,
Life.
I just
So
realized. Yeah.
it will be both camp stories and
Hamilton
blacked
stories.
out Hamilton. No, I'm a responsible bartender.
You are. I believe in you.
So I think once The Mandalorian came out, we all went, oh, okay, so like it feels like Star Wars, but it doesn't feel like I'm watching a Star Wars movie. It was kind of the vibe from the Mando.
It was TV writing with movie look and visual effects.
Yeah.
I would have to agree.
You know,
But that's
and,
also a standard that you have to compare just to the Star Wars films because their like theme of visual effects is very different from other.
I guess, but like the point,
it's also the first time we saw live action Star Wars on TV as
that's
well.
true.
I just
live action Obi-Wan.
no, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. We got a couple years.
I think when this comes out, the big thing to compare it to will be the CW shows.
I think that when they say it's just like the movies, I went into these shows hoping for something that doesn't just feel like an MCU movie cut up. But this is the exception where like I just want this to feel like another Captain America movie.
Yeah.
Just over 6 or 8 parts. And this statement makes me very happy. You know, I want WandaVision to feel weird and like not like I'm watching a multi-part movie. Same with Loki to an extent, and the shitload of other shows that are coming down the line. But this is exciting to hear, you know.
Yeah. I think what this will do is that they can focus more on like, not that the MCU doesn't have fantastic character development, but they can focus very hard on telling a narrative through character development
Exactly.
in
yeah.
one shot, as opposed to like Tony over the course of 20 some odd films,
Yeah.
you know. And that's what excites me, is that like the writing will, I don't want to say improve, but change into a form that I really like with the gold standard of the MCU look and feel,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and then that's the thing is that like the MCU basically, like, it's almost this really weird reversal because the MCU took television sensibilities of character development but stretched it out over several movies. Where now we're taking like a movie, like a film, a movie style of filmmaking and applying that to television. And I think that's just really funny back and forth in the way that like the MCU has married television and film into this, you know, monstrosity. But yeah, very exciting stuff. We got one more tangentially related MCU story.
We do.
That is going to be rather brief.
Shang-Chi is still happening.
Not only is Shang-Chi still happening, it looks like a massive set was built in Sydney, Australia, ready to be used whenever they're able to get back out into the fray. We do not know much about Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, or Legend of the Ten Rings. We obviously can't see the set. It's just the back part of it. But yeah, there's something very big happening in Shang-Chi. And when you hear that they shot a big scene in Shang-Chi in Sydney, Australia, you can tell them that the Nerd Academy told you first. And that's what you can do with that.
Yahoo.
Travis, I am going to happily pitch this next story to you.
We finally got a release date for season 2 of The Boys. On
How
Amazon
long do
Prime.
we have to get Alexis through the first season?
We have about 3 months,
We have 3 months.
give or take. So, and they're not. Boys season 1 came out over in one drop.
Sorry, distraction.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi translates to eat raw. Just so you're aware.
I'm holding back a lot right now, Joel. You gotta understand, man. You can't give me that kind of material on air.
Yeah, no. Keep moving forward. It's Meet the Robinsons. Keep moving forward.
Okay, so
Deep cut Disney reference.
The Boys season 1 released all in one shot on Amazon Prime. And
They're doing it a week at a time for this. I deliberately didn't look at this story because I just wanted you to talk me through it.
on Friday, September 4th, we are getting the first 3 episodes of the season, and then they're releasing one a week until the season finale on October 9th. So I think that means we're getting 6 or 7. I haven't quite done the math. I will do it right now, actually, as I talk. But, hold on. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 episodes coming in this season.
And now we're back to the age-old question of how do we review this show? Do we do it on the main show? Do we just do like an extra episode a week for the boys? We have plenty of time to cross that
We have
bridge.
so much content like racked up on shows we can review, movies we can review, things we
Yeah.
can do, and we're just
I
like,
will pitch while we're on air, and I want to pitch this idea. We review the first 3 when they come out, and then we review the season. I think that's our best bet.
first
I'm-
impressions and then
I'm not.
like
I'm
that.
not going to be able to get out of that first weekend and not go. I can avoid talking about this. Like I can
no.
already. Season 1 was
Yeah.
so good. It's probably
And I promise you, for those of you who listen from our old comic book show,
We aren't
we,
gonna-
we
a
aren't
3-hour
going to
show.
try. We aren't going to try to squeeze news and a review into that.
We have
You-
found out the hard way that anything involving both at the same time will end up in 3 hours or more.
or more.
We accidentally did a San Diego Comic Con to Hall of Heroes once, and I felt bad about it.
But I am beyond excited for this. I'm so happy to finally have a release date. I've been
Now,
waiting.
there was a trailer and there was a clip that was released as well. I
haven't-
didn't watch it,
I haven't seen those either.
and I refuse to.
At this point, I think I do too, because so much is at this point they're going to be telling their own original story with these characters. Like there's maybe like stealing moments from the comic
Yeah.
to like as fan service if we're going to recreate this moment with this context. Because at this point the story has become so different that, and not in a bad way. In fact, honestly, in a better way.
In a better way, because it's a little more satiric and absurdist than the original,
Which
just
is
being like,
absurdist and edgy.
yeah,
and
which is
gross.
just titties and blood, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad it's not titties and blood. It's like it's satire of superhero culture.
Yeah, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I'm gonna have to rewatch season 1 again before then, so
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
and get yourself a Billy Butcher jacket.
That's true.
I'm completely in the dark here because I haven't watched it.
You haven't
You
watched
should watch The Boys. You should watch The Boys.
I know I should.
Don't eat before watching The Boys.
Yeah, don't
watch
eat.
The Boys.
Eat it on an empty stomach. You might need some alcohol to make it through. Like,
Oh, that bad?
no, it's fantastic. It's like a 10 out of 10.
Like,
show.
I mean, like that physically
It's gross. It's gross.
repulsive.
It's really
repulsive.
fucking gross.
Want to see a man get C4 shoved up his ass?
How graphic is that?
As graphic as you think.
Oh, God.
The opening shot is a person getting cleaved in half. I'm pretty sure.
Gosh, dang.
Yeah, it's
I thought Game of Thrones was
it's
gruesome.
I accidentally started in the wrong order and clicked on the last episode first and like watched Help. Homelander. Jesus Christ, that was embarrassing.
I had to remember like what happens in the last episode.
Freezes, makes a weird face, goes, help.
Help.
Guys, I'm having a strong. No, like I watched the last episode first, and just like the first thing I saw was just Homelander bisecting people with heat
Oh
vision.
yeah.
Which like this show is so graphic, Joel. Like the best way I can describe
What's it on?
Amazon Prime.
Okay.
The best way I can describe it is it's squishy blood. Like it's not like you cleave somebody in half at Game of Thrones and they kind of spurt. Like anytime like someone is like burnt or cut in half or like anytime something violent happens, there's a squishing noise and everything is really squishy and gross.
Interesting. So, in other words, they took like the low budget zombie movie and combined it with Game of Thrones, and here you have blood everywhere
Yeah, kinda.
and
Only it looks very
pieces of
realistic.
flesh going
And
everywhere.
like as they also in a very brutal and unfortunate way like adhere to the laws of physics as best as they can.
Uh-huh. So like when someone gets dropped from like 40 feet in the air onto a car, you watch bones splinter everywhere. And pieces
my
of the car
gosh.
splinter into them.
If the Flash were to tackle somebody,
What do you think would happen? They would
if
disintegrate.
the Flash were to tackle
Flash running at full speed, just right into somebody.
yeah, disintegration.
Yeah. Like
only
like,
here it's not full speed, they just get liquefied.
yeah, they're jelly.
This is so weird and so messed up.
You'll love it.
And you haven't even seen how it actually looks yet.
Yeah, like it's a lot. It's
Have you ever seen a golf ball going 500 miles per hour
No.
into a wall? It like explodes. Like that's what I equate it to.
You're going to see human beings get turned into pudding.
actual pudding.
I'm not sure I'm exactly up for that, but I guess I'll have to watch it.
You will have to watch
at
it.
least a single
It is.
episode.
I just realized Cookie Cop is wearing a mask. It took me till just now.
Don't you know he's got COVID-19?
Yeah, Cookie Cop has like super COVID.
He's the source.
Yeah, Cookie Cop created
Oh, don't say that on air.
Yeah. Hey, Joel, is that a laser sight on you right now? Anyway.
Gosh, Mick.
Oh, stop. Oh, my God. I don't even think you've made that show on air yet. Inexplicably.
You don't think I've made that show on air yet? That's what you said.
Class dismissed. I give up. I forgot Homelander. Okay, for those of you who don't know,
I have this running bit with my friend from work that in Kingdom Hearts 2, there's a point where they try to pretend like Goofy becomes... I don't think they say he dies, but he, like, dies. But the joke is that we say he gets sniped right between the eyes by a high-caliber rifle.
and he doesn't ever stop referencing it.
Never, ever.
I think if we took a shot every time he made that joke at camp, we would have died. On day one.
Someone else went, Gosh, Mick, and I couldn't stop.
And I can't make my favorite joke about like us saying something in Disney trying to kill us anymore. Because anytime somebody says laser sight, or even anything approximating something to do with a gun, like Travis's brain just goes Gorshmik, and it just you can't stop him.
I think that's a laser.
I can't stand you people anymore. I
Love
can't
you
do
too.
It. I can't do it anymore.
I love you too.
Keep it up with keeping the Miro sticker.
Oh,
Would you
no.
like some tea?
Yes, Joel will make his tea again.
We need to calm down.
Joel, what are we looking at time wise?
We are at 44 hours and 17.
What?
36 minutes.
36 minutes.
Does that not say 44 hours and 17 minutes?
Let me see.
Disk space remaining.
Yeah. That's how much time we have left to record.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Then
so-
we're doing very well.
Yes.
Let us
We have
know if you
44
want that
hours
44-hour episode.
Listen, when we get our listenership higher to the point where we could make it count, I am dedicated to doing a 24-hour charity stream.
That'd be awesome.
Sure.
Like really
Just
badly.
watching movies. And
No, if we can get our listenership up to the point where it is viable, and also with a little help from our friends in the biz, I want to do a 24-hour charity stream of us playing the new Lego Star Wars either at the end of this year or the beginning of next year.
yeah.
I also had an idea to at some point do a stream of us attempting to play Star Wars Obi-Wan with how unplayable that game is. And the fact that I'm the only... Like, Spencer played it a little bit as a kid. I played it my whole childhood and have revisited it several times over the years. With how unplayable that game is, how entertaining it would be to watch all of us have a meltdown trying to play that. A couple weeks ago, I was playing it and almost started crying. I was so frustrated with it. And I've been playing it my whole life. So, just throwing that out there into the ether and wondering if that would be fun for anybody. But... our last story this time around. Tenet is becoming Tenet is becoming New Mutants, only Tenet's going to be good. It has been pushed back again.
I'm sorry, what? Say that again?
I said Tenet is like New Mutants now, only Tenet is going to be good. The new Chris Nolan movie.
Okay. See, I didn't have that information. I was
Okay,
like,
yeah,
what?
this is the new Christopher Nolan movie. You've been out of the fight for a little bit.
Yeah, I have.
So this is from Variety. Warner Brothers has pushed back the release date for Christopher Nolan's Tenet again. It's the second delay for the highly anticipated tentpole, which has been primed to reignite moviegoing after lengthy cinema closures due to COVID-19. The movie, which has a $200 million budget, was initially slated to arrive in theaters on July 17th, but was later postponed until July 31st, and is now being released on August 12th. Here's the quote from them. Warner Brothers is committed to bringing Tenet to audiences in theaters on the big screen when exhibitors are ready and public health officials say it's time. In this moment, we need to do what is most flexible, and we are not treating this as a traditional movie release. We are choosing to open the movie midweek to allow audiences to discover the film in their own time, and we plan to play longer over an extended play period far beyond the norm to develop a different yet successful release strategy. In other words, we know a lot of people are afraid to go back to movie theaters, so we're just going to bide our time as long as we can because this is a Christopher Nolan movie, and if a Christopher Nolan movie underperforms, it looks really bad on all of us, is what that press release means.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, myself included, I saw Jeff the Snyder of Collider tweeting about this as well not too long ago, and I completely agree with him that if, regardless of everything going on, if Tenet underperformed, it's just a horrible look for everybody, you know, and that it would be... I don't think Warner Brothers wants to have to use Tenet as a meat shield.
But it looks like they're going to have to.
But, well, I think them delaying it, you know, is their best chance at not having to. Because it's just really embarrassing if you have a director who, anytime they release a new movie, it shoots, it's at the tops of the list for highest grossing movies of the year. Shut up. I know I said it.
Shoot, dude.
Continue.
Well, now I know what song I'm using in the post tomorrow. But, you know, it flies into the top, you know, 5 movies or so. Always is, you know, great award season bait, whatever. I think this is a smart move on their part, both for safety reasons and for budgetary reasons. And I don't care when Tenet comes out because I'm seeing it anyway.
That's kind of how I feel about it, too. Kind of similar, related story, but I don't know how factual it is. I saw a headline the other day that said AMC would have to delay their reopening again because of cases spiking in the U.S. I didn't click on the article because I think I got it in the morning while we were camping, and like I would walk out to the driveway, like the parking lot where I had service, get all my notifications, and then walk back. So I didn't actually read the article, but that doesn't surprise me if that's true.
No, not at all.
And so if this continues, yes, Joel.
I didn't want to interrupt you. I was just, did you also hear about the AMC other story?
What other story?
That they were reversing their decision.
Oh, on the masks?
On
yeah,
the
that
masks, yeah. Which is good.
They realized just how dumb that sounded of like, we don't want to enforce masks because that's a political take. No, it isn't.
It's pretty much a humanitarian,
following
need.
Following the advice of several medical professionals is not a political take. I'm sorry. But
Well, here's the... if we're going to take it to that place, and we're good on time.
AMC did, so we can.
AMC did, so we can. The concept of science is only political because there's one party in the conversation that wants scientific discussion to be a political topic. When you have a president who says shit like, I'm not going to wear a mask because it is a sign of weakness, and slow down the testing because you get better results. How bad did that spike?
Not much, actually.
Okay, good. That is when it becomes a political issue, because at that point, it's as much of a political issue as it is just trying to talk to somebody who just willfully says the wrong thing.
Listen, we're not being political here. There's just one simple answer. Wear your damn mask. Be a human. Save other lives by being just a normal human being and wear your damn mask. It's very simple.
Be the hero you're meant to be.
Yes.
It's very simple.
You too can be a hero by wearing a motherfucking mask and not acting like an idiot. What did you see? All the bars in Allegheny County shut down. Did you see that?
Did
you see that?
They have to stop serving alcohol after 5, but they can stay open. Is what I saw.
It's
those are those are restaurant bars.
Okay.
The thing is it makes logical sense.
No, it absolutely does. No, it makes perfect sense. And I'm not saying that it was not the right call. I'm on record as saying that the bar I work at shouldn't fucking be open yet.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm happy to have work again. I'm also aware of the fact that now that bar is on borrowed time, and it's only a matter of time until I'm back to
Make
just...
our own here at home.
Don't tempt me. I will get...
Put a bar right there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The Cookie Cop Saloon.
Yeah. Sorry, distracted.
No, you're good. But yeah, that's why masks are a political issue.
So
Because one side of the conversation just facts don't matter to, and haven't and won't. So stop pretending that eventually they will.
So wear your mask when you go see Tenet.
Wear your mask when you go see Tenet, and please be safe and don't be stupid. If theaters and humanity is even still here by then.
It is scientific fact that masks reduce the transmission of COVID-19 by like a ridiculous amount.
But Joel, didn't you know that masks only make you sicker?
Didn't you know
They're
that
the devil's
masks,
rags.
Didn't you know that masks stop the gift of God?
They do.
I saw that, and I thought, like, I saw that, and like, I was like,
Repulsive. Repulsive.
I read that, and I got so angry that I could see sound. Like, in the moment I read that headline, like, I saw sound waves.
Listen, I will be straight up honest with you. When I took the MCAT, we had to wear masks.
Yeah,
Perfectly
good.
fine. Okay?
If
Perfectly
you weren't,
fine.
I would never ever call an ambulance again in
Now, I will
Westmoreland
be
County.
straight up honest with you. Yes, I found it slightly difficult to breathe after being in a stuffed space for 6.5, 7 hours. That's not what we're asking you to do. I found it slightly difficult in that situation. Just wear it when you're going into a grocery store, or when you're going into a public space, or when you're interacting with people that aren't in your own home. Like, come on.
It's the whole concept of asking the bare minimum of people gets this like outrageous reaction. Like literally put this piece of cloth over your face when you're out and about, and maybe you won't kill that other person's grandparents. Like,
Yeah, it sounds pretty straightforward to me.
like I can. It's not that hard. It's really not that difficult to just, hey, do one of these maneuvers, and people don't fucking die. It's not that hard. I don't understand why people throw such a hissy fit about it.
Yeah.
Because they're being told to do it.
I'm not gonna name names. It's somebody who I only know because of like conventions and stuff, and like I unfriended them. That they went on this whole, they like every day they just talk nothing about how coronavirus and COVID-19 and all of this is just one big psyop, and how none of it's true, and how like it's at that point where I just want to sit down with them and just like run through everything they're saying. It's like, okay,
Here.
so the president is right for telling you not to wear a mask and saying that this isn't a big deal. But if he's saying that, why is the rest of the government that him and his party control still doing the whole don't die thing? But like how do these two things work? Like how is he right, but he's in control of the thing that's telling you that so that it's wrong? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like I don't understand the thought process.
Because you're not big brained, Jared.
I don't clearly. I'm not a galaxy brain like
There's a
discount
whole lot of
boogaloo
wrong
boy.
there. Listen, if you don't believe that the virus is real, ask any physician who has come home every day to the peril of their own family and through the emotional distress they have gone through by seeing death on a daily basis in mass number, who are going through depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts because of it. Talk to them and then come back to tell me that the virus isn't real. Enough said.
The same way climate change isn't real, and that like gay people and trans people are just a new idea. You know,
They weren't real before 1990, I swear to God.
yeah, they were. I'm telling you that 1990 expansion pack came and it fucked up the canon. It fucked up how it worked. The continuity's all messed up. I don't understand it anymore.
That was fun.
Sorry, we just had to get that out.
That's not even the tip of the iceberg of the buttfuck stupid shit I hear on a daily basis. Like, it came to my knowledge in a conversation that I had with a certain female member of our team that a certain fellow Italian member of this team said to her off the record, somebody really needs to get Jared out of there. This isn't healthy for him. And you're not wrong, Travis. I'm kind of going crazy a little bit.
Yeah.
And like every time I'm realizing that every time I hear something horrible at work, I've become aware of the fact that my reaction is getting more and more visceral every time. But yeah, the moral of the story is educate yourselves before you shit nonsense out of your word hole.
Especially before you go protest.
Yeah.
Know what you're fighting
My
for.
favorite is any like political commentator, and Travis, I think you said this as well, is any of like during the Karen marches, just calling them pro COVID-19 protests. That's what they're pro coronavirus protests of like, hey, I support this virus by going out and I'm like, hey, like I'm gonna wear that. I'm not gonna wear that mask because this isn't real. This isn't a problem.
Pro COVID-19.
Yeah, pro COVID-19.
Anything that is anti wearing a mask or anti preventing COVID-19 is pro COVID-19.
That is the binary of which this discussion should be had.
Because that is the binary that it is.
If you're not against it, you're for it, right?
Yeah, I
simple.
think with this conversation, absolutely that is the case. You know, you again, conservatism and capitalism is a death cult. Joel, where can the lovely people find you?
Okay, let's just ignore it.
We are.
You can
The
find
sky
me.
is blue and capitalism is a death cult. Joel, where can the people find you?
People can find me trying to fix the YouTube channel and anything else that's screwed up for our website. Anyways, you can find me on Instagram.
Everything that I broke on the website yesterday is what Joel's going to try to fix.
You actually didn't make it too bad, but I did fix it. We're good.
Okay, good.
So you can find me on Instagram at Bassmake Cosplay and on Twitter at Jay the Sentinel. I think that's it. Yeah.
Travis, capitalism is a death cult, and where can the lovely people find you?
They can find me at Travis Political, agreeing with you on Twitter and Instagram.
Even though his Twitter is not political.
No, yeah, look. I'm just too lazy to change it at this point.
People know you as
Yeah, exactly.
political.
That was
Even
Side-
Spencer's girlfriend.
I remember you said that. I remember you, like, the first time I had you on Hall of Heroes, I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear that. Crickets.
yeah. I remember you mentioned when you were with Liv.
Yeah.
Two of you guys, Spencer and Liv, and you mentioned me, and she's like, "Oh, Travis Political," and you're like, "Right, she doesn't know him." That's weird. And
When you forget that people you're talking to aren't your immediate friend group.
That was the first time I went to a convention after like doing a lot of cosplay stuff on Instagram, and somebody yelled "Dark Jedi 2552," and I was like, "My name is Jared, and I need to take a shower now." That was gross. Like, I can live with being called Dark Jedi. That's fine.
Dark
But with
Jedi
the number.
2552.
But throwing the number in, I'm like,
It's definitely an alias. And
honey,
you're like, okay,
no,
this is weird.
I don't like it. I need a shower.
Well, I straight up will tell you, no one has ever called me by any,
But you also don't
alias
use
name.
a lot of,
Well, I mean, right.
Jared, capitalism is a death cult. Where can the lovely people find you?
Capitalism is a death cult, and Mike Kalinowski is the greater inner geekdom player of all time. And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. And you can also find the Nerd Academy podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can chuck in a couple bucks to help us keep the lights on around these parts. Speaking of some of those lovely patrons, we have the Waffle Wizard and Case and Breon, our illustrious $10 patrons who help us keep everything running around here. If you guys are $5 patrons in a couple days now, you'll be able to listen to our latest installment of Knights of the Nerd Republic's Versus series. Kylo Ren versus Ahsoka Tano.
Which I need to edit.
Which Joel needs to edit. And also make the graphic.
Yes.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun to record. And at the end, we have a teaser for the next matchup. Count Dooku versus Exar Kun. Very excited for that one. We're busting out the Legends canon. We're only 4 episodes in, and I'm like, deep cuts, baby. With that, we are so happy you guys are listening. Have a happy and safe 4th of July. Capitalism is a death cult. Class dismissed. And your homework is to redistribute the means of production. Yes, Joel, I'm done now.